everyone, welcome back to Wildwood Cottage and welcome back to Wales. It's lovely to have you here. I hope you're all doing well. Today I am back in my kitchen and I'm going to be doing the Thrifty Christmas Pudding by Marguerite Patton. It was from 1944 and it's a money-saving way of making your own Christmas pudding without having to put a shed load of ingredients in. And I don't want to have a lot of ingredients in my baking this Christmas, so I've decided to do a lot of it again myself. So I'm making 2 Christmas puddings because we've got visitors on Christmas Day. And as I say, I've got 7 people, including myself and my husband, to cater for. So 2 Christmas puddings, we usually need about 1.5. So rather than make 1.5, I'm going to make 2. And then the other half we can have over Christmas ourselves. So the Thrifty Christmas Pudding recipe is, she says, I demonstrated this recipe just before Christmas 1944. The rolled oats give a nutty texture and the carrots help to save sugar as well as improve the colour of the mixture. It uses, I'll give you the recipe. It says 3 ounces of bread, weight without crusts, and then we make them into breadcrumbs in your food mixer. 1/4 of a pint of water, 3 ounces of plain flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of mixed spice, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3 ounces of rolled oats, 3 ounces of finely grated carrots. Now this is to cut down on the sugar, which is great for us because we don't want to eat a lot of refined sugar. We'd rather eat natural sugar. So this is going to be really, really good for us. So I'm going to use carrots and not as much sugar. 3 ounces of margarine. I'm not going to use margarine. I'm going to use butter or oil because I'm trying to cut out margarine because of the rapeseed oil. All margarine is, if you're interested, it's just butter, fat and oil mixed together, usually a 50-50 mix, sometimes more depending on the brand, but it's always got rapeseed oil in it mixed with either palm oil or sunflower oil. So it's a no for me really, because I don't want to be ill over Christmas. So yeah, I tend to use butter or oil in my cooking. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So it says 3 ounces of margarine, 3 ounces of sugar, preferably brown, which I've got, 8 ounces of mixed dried fruit, and 2 fresh or reconstituted eggs. Now I think I may only have 1 egg, so I'm going to use the 1 egg and add water to top it up to make sure that I've got enough. Or milk. I quite like milk in a fruit cake. I think that works really well. So that is all the ingredients. It's actually a really basic ingredients list. It says it takes 2.5 hours to cook, plus another hour to heat on Christmas Day. So yeah, it's basically 3.5 hours cooking time. Now you could make this on top of your log burner if you've got a log burner, and you've got no surround like we've got in the front room. We've got a brick fire surround round our log burner sits inside, so I actually wouldn't have the space on top to be able to bake this, but I'm going to do it in my Prity stove. I've got the Prity 2P41 and I'm going to be doing it in a bain-marie on the top, so you could do exactly the same on your log burner if you've got a nice hot log burner. And what I'm doing is I'm going to use a big baking pan. It's a metal pan, casserole dish, and I'm going to put water in the bottom of it, not a lot. You're going to have to keep topping up the water levels as it's cooking, and put the bowls with the mixture in with greaseproof paper over the top, and you steam them. You don't cook them, you steam them. It's basically a steamed pudding, like a steamed sponge pudding, except it's a steamed fruit pudding. So I'm going to do mine on top of the stove. If you want to see my recipe from last year, which does have a lot more ingredients in it and a lot more fruit, I'll pop it in the I button for you. And it was out of Gordon's recipe book from when he used it on the Rayburn. So I'll pop that in the I button for you if you can find it. So I'll pop that in this video. So if you want to make a more traditional Christmas pudding, you'll find that in the I button. If you want to make the frugal recipe, then that's in this video. So what I'm going to do is, it says to break the bread into small pieces, put it in cold water and leave for at least 20 minutes, then beat with a fork until smooth. Sift the flour and the baking powder and the spices, add the bread with the rest of the ingredients and mix thoroughly. Grease a 2.5 pint basin, spoon in the mixture, cover carefully with the margarine paper, then a cloth or greaseproof paper, and steam over boiling water for 2.5 hours. Remove the damp covers, leave to dry, then replace on the puddings. Store in a cool place for 2 to 3 days. On Christmas morning, steam for an hour. Traditionally, the pudding would be served with sherry custard or a hard sauce. So that's basically the recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak my fruit first. And I know it doesn't call for it in the recipe, but I'm going to add some orange juice out of a fresh orange. And well, it's an orange that's going off actually that really needs using, and the grated rind of the orange as well. And I'm going to put that in for extra flavour. Not that it needs it, but it will just make it a more flavourful pudding because you're not having as much sugar. So that's going to be really good. So because I'm making two, it says this serves 6. So because I'm making 2, I'm probably going to double the ingredients, and what won't fit in there can go in my Christmas cake. And what won't fit in those 2 bowls can go in my Christmas cake. So that's the plan for that. I'm following the Eating for Victory cookbook. I think that was what I decided for my Christmas cake. But if you want my Christmas cake recipe, it is in the I button as well in this video. So you can follow along with that. But I'm going to do the Eating for Victory Christmas cake this year. But there's not enough time for me to do both videos this year. So maybe I'll cover that at the end of the 2025 challenge next year. So just for today, we're going to do the thrifty Christmas pudding. I'm going to go and set up in the kitchen and we'll go and make it together. And I need to go and light the stove. And once the stove's on, we can cook them on the stove. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So see you in a minute. Now, just noticed there is a tip in here. And it says Christmas pudding without eggs. Now, I might try that and see how that works. It says mix together 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of suet. I can't use the suet. I'll stick with the eggs. But this is for anyone who can use suet. 1 cup of mixed dried fruit. And if you like, 1 teaspoon of mixed sweet spice. Then add 1 cup of grated potato, 1 cup of grated raw carrot, and finally 1 level teaspoon of bicarbonated soda, dissolved in 2 tablespoons of hot milk. Mix all together. No further moisture is necessary. Turn into a well-greased pudding basin. Boil or steam for 4 hours. So you can make one without pudding, without pudding, without eggs, and use suet instead. But I'm not going to do that. I'm sure if you wanted to, instead of the eggs and the suet, you'll probably use olive oil. But I'm going to stick with the thrifty one. But if you wanted to do the Christmas pudding without eggs, there's the alternative recipe. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in the kitchen, sort myself out, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the fruit before we put it in the pudding. So see you in a minute. Right, so we're back in the kitchen and we're going to get organised for Christmas. And we're going to do the thrifty Christmas pudding. And it's from the Marguerite Patton book and it is called Feeding the Nation. We are going to do the breadcrumbs separately, and I'm going to do them differently than what it says in the book because I've got quite a bit of bread that needs using up. It was in the freezer and it's not off, it's not gone over, but it's going stale and it just needs using up. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through the food processor. Sorry, I'm disappearing into the lights, aren't I? I'm going to put it in the food processor. I'm going to make it into breadcrumbs and then we're going to soak it because I just haven't got the time today. I want to get my Christmas cake done and my pastry for my mince pies and for my pies because I've got some mixture. Let me just show you. I've got some mixture left over here from our cottage pie the other night. And I thought what I'd do was I thought I'd put onion in it and leek. And I thought I'd re-season it again in the pan and then pop it in some pastry and a bit of potato, a bit of diced potato, and make some vegan Cornish pasties with it. So that's going to go, I don't want that to go to waste. It's at the end of itself now. Out of that mixture, I've had cottage pie, I've had lasagna, and I've had chili. So it's all out the same mixture. And it just keeps going on and on and on. Because I keep adding more ingredients to it, it just seems to be lasting for ages. So I'm going to add a little bit of mixed veg, an onion, some leek, and some chopped potato, mix all that together and make some Cornish pasties. So I need to make my pastry today as well, but I've got to go to the supermarket because when I went to Tesco's, I forgot to get my margarine, my milk, and what else did I forget? I forgot something else as well. So I've got to go to the co-op and I've got to go out and get that. I desperately need the butter. I need that for my baking. And I was going to see how much the olive oil is and see if I can get myself some olive oil. So we'll have to see. Sorry, I'm disappearing into the light, aren't I? Just a sec. That's no better, is it? Anyway, we're going to get the food processor out and I'm going to do the breadcrumbs. So I'll be back in a sec. Right, so this is my food processor and I'm going to do, so I'm just going to put the white and the brown together in the processor, and then this will keep in the freezer and you can keep reusing it, but it just uses up less space. So helps if it's switched on. There we go, they're all mixed together. Now, what you could do, if you've got the time, is put them in the dehydrator and dry them out and do dried breadcrumbs. And you can add that to the top of soups. You could also make croutons out of them to put on the top of your Christmas soup. But I haven't got the time, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this in a bag and do the other ones. I've got these as well. And then I'm going to measure out what I need for my my pudding recipe. So won't be a sec. So this is just going to go in the food bag. If I can get it in. Right, the recipe calls for 75 grams and I'm doing double helping. So we are going to have, oh, there's a big piece left there, give that to the chickens. I need now 150 for my recipe. So 104. Right, so the rest of that now can go in the freezer. And that'll do for another day. That'll do for things like nut roasts, maybe even Christmas cake. But I don't think I'm going to put it in the Christmas cake. So I'm just going to put that in the freezer. And that'll do another day. So that can go out the way. Right, it says 150 ml of water. So I'm going to use 300. So that's 50. That's 250, sorry. So that's 300. So we'll leave that to soak, like it says. But the thing is, it'll soak a lot quicker, so that's good. So that's our water and our breadcrumbs. Right, the next thing I want to do is my fruit. Now, I didn't get mixed fruit, I just got sultanas. Right, got some that needs using up. So I'm going to use these first. And it says 225 grams, so I want 450. That's just had porridge in it. It's nothing wrong with it. Now, these do have sunflower oil on them, but my husband and I know we're okay with these. So there's the 450. I'm trying to be accurate, keeping in with the wartime theme and wasting nothing. Now, what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put orange juice in them. And that then is going to give the orangey flavour. So I'm just going to do my oranges. These are the carrots I got for 15p in Tesco's. So I think I'm going to do them and I'm going to add them to the mixture that's soaking now in the bowl. And then they can take up the flavour of the mixed spice and the orange as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. So it says 3 ounces of carrot, 75 grams. So I want 150 grams of carrots. These are a kilo for 15p. So let's clear that. That's 298, that's far too much. Oh, hold on. 300, no, I don't. 75, 150, don't I? 101. 78. There we go, that'll do. 158. By the time I've taken the top off and tailed it, give those bits to the chickens. There we go, that'll do. 141. Right, so we're going to grate that into the mixture, and I'll do that now. Okay, so there's our carrot in our mixture. Mix it all in. Smells delicious. I love the smell of orange and things like this. It smells lovely. Now it does say rolled oats, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the rolled oats in with the breadcrumbs. And we'll get them mixed in as well. So there's my carrot mixed in with my fruit. So I'm going to put that to one side again. And it says 3 ounces of rolled oats. So we want 6 ounces of rolled oats. Right. So that's that. We're going to mix that in as well. And they can absorb some of the mixture, the moisture. I think I need a bigger bowl. I'm going to add a little bit more water, I think. Just for the oats, because they're going to absorb quite a bit. Okay. And I'm going to add as well another bit of mixed spice, just to flavour the oats, because oats can be a bit bland. Right, so I'm going to leave that, and that's just going to soak now for half an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll put it all together, get the fire lit and get it on top of the stove, get it cooked. There you go, there's that. A little bit more mixed spice, I think. I can still smell the bread. Okay, so I'm going to use self-raising flour, and I need 150 grams. So we're going to do that first. See? All right, darling, we're going to go for a walk in a minute. Right, so that's 150 grams of my flour. So I'm going to add that. It's all right, get down. Right, you can get egg replacer in the health food shop, and it's by Organ. And you use, let me see, I think it's a tablespoon and 30 ml of water replaces an egg. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'll show you how to use this stuff. So there's a tablespoon. So it's roughly a tablespoon to a tablespoon of water, really. So we'll just add a bit of water. Stripe's waiting for a walk, so he's a bit fretful because he didn't get out yesterday because we went shopping. So that's that. So then you just give that a mix. You can use it to replace egg whites as well. It's quite a good thing to have. Right. That's that. So add our egg. You kind of want the consistency of a blended egg, really. And it will just act the same way. It will just do the same thing. And it doesn't really go off. I've had that for years. It's gluten-free, wheat-free, egg-free, dairy-free, yeast-free and vegan. It's also safe for soy-free and kosher. So if you're on a kosher regime, then it's fine. So the next thing I want is my oil. That's just 100 ml of olive oil, and that's all I'm going to put in. I just top up with extra milk or something. So we'll mix that into the egg. Get all your wet ingredients ready at the same time. It's a lot easier. And I think that's it. May need to add more water. But yeah, I think that's it. Oh, the sugar. Now I've got different types of sugar here. I've got this fair trade light brown sugar. I've got soft brown sugar. I've got demerara sugar. And I've got golden castor sugar. So I'm going to use the soft light brown sugar because it's a nicer sugar and it tends to melt better when you're baking. So I'm going to save the soft brown sugar for my Christmas cake to go with the demerara. And it says, how much sugar does it say? 150 grams of sugar. So I'll use this one. You know, that's going to do me for sugar. It's quite sweet anyway. I put 110 grams in of sugar. Because we've got the carrot in there as well. So that just means we don't have to use as much sugar really. Right, let's mix all that in. We're just going to mix our flour in to coat the fruit. So all the fruit gets evenly mixed in with our dry ingredients. Before we add our wet. And you'll know when it's all evenly mixed because the flour will start absorbing the liquid off your dried fruit, which is what you want. Right, now we're going to chuck our oats in. That's a bit blonde for me. Now I've mixed the oats in. I think the light brown sugar was too light. So I'm going to add a bit of treacle just to give it a Christmassy texture. I've got traditional Tate and Lyle black treacle. And you know, I think this was Gordon's. I'm just going to add a spoon of treacle in. I love treacle. I love the flavour of treacle. I mean, really, that's all brown sugar is treacle and sugar. Oh, look at that. That's Christmas. That is lovely. That's really tasty. Tasty orange. And the spices. Now, even though I didn't have a lot of orange to put in it, it's gorgeous. I'm probably going to get 3 or 4 out of this, you know. Have enough for next year at this rate. I may need to put more flour in because that's gone a little bit wet. So I think I will. I can just, if I've got any left over, I'll just add it into my Christmas cake. So Sorry, I'm eating a mixture. I've decided to make a big one and a little one. And I'm not going to wash the bowl. I'm going to use the same bowl to make the Christmas cake, because it's going to be pretty much the same recipe. There we go, there's our two. So this one will do Christmas Day, and then this one will do for us for another day. Put that out the way. Right, so our greaseproof paper. So this is the paper of the mince pies from the other day, from rolling out the pastry. As I say, I don't waste anything. I'm going to use it on our bowls. So what you want to do, you want to wrap it round. I've still got my string from last year. Didn't throw it away. Waste not, want not, and all that. Now I can't find my bain-marie, so I'm going to put it in a pan, a stock pan instead, the big blue one. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to tie your string like in a knot, like that, and then you want to give yourself enough for a little handle, and I'll use this piece for the other one. So you want to tie that on there. My mum showed me how to do this when I was younger. Tie that on there, and that just means you're not fighting to pick up the Christmas pudding out of the hot water, because you want to make sure you keep your pan filled with hot water. And there you go. So that just makes it easier for getting it in and out. So I'm just going to do this with this one. I can't find my bain-marie pan at the moment, but when I do I'll show you it. But I'm just going to pop that in there. Enough water to stop it drying out. And the lid, when I can find the lid. So that's just going to go on top of my stove for 2.5 hours. I find another one to put this in. And then when I found my other part, I'll show you. But this is basically a bain-marie. It's just got water in the bottom. Then your cake, put your lid on, leave it to steam for 2.5 hours. And then you should be ready to go for Christmas Day, for warming it through for an hour. It's a really good recipe to do, and it means that you then one step ahead for Christmas Day, bung it in the freezer, and then take it out the day before Christmas. I know this video is going out on the Sunday, so you won't need to put it in the freezer. You can just keep it in the fridge for a couple of days and then warm it through on Christmas morning. But because I'm making this on the Thursday, I made the video on the Thursday, I'm going to put it in the freezer when it's cooked and then take it out on Monday evening. And then I'll put it in the oven. I'll put it back in a bain-marie, back in these pans again with water, and steam it again for an hour on the top of the stove. So I think that's it for me for today. I'm going to take the dog out for a walk and go and enjoy the dry weather. The sun's just started coming out. It's about 2:45 and he's waiting to go out for his walk. So I'll see you in the next video on Christmas Eve. And we'll see you in the new year if we don't see you Christmas Eve. So I'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do like and subscribe if this is your first time here or you haven't subscribed to my channel. And I'll see you again soon. So take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.